India and its neighbours. What were the major challenges to India's neighbourhood first policy this year? This year, India faced a trifecta of challenges in its neighbourhood from China, the COVID-19 pandemic, the growing competition for influence in South Asia, and aggressive actions at the line of actual control (LAC) by China's People Liberation Army (PLA). How has India helped tackle the regional COVID-19 challenge? The COVID-19 pandemic that originated in China has led to one of the biggest health challenges, causing heavy economic damage in South Asia. India ranks second after the United States in terms of the number of cases and worst hit economy among the G20 nations, but India is also one of the best poised nations to aid recovery efforts in the region. Given its status as one of the world's leading producers of the pharmaceutical drugs and vaccines, in March, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a special virtual summit of 8 SAARC nations and proposed a COVID-19 package for which India provided about half of nearly $20 million funding for relief. India's military ran a series of missions to SAARC countries and Indian Ocean region (IOR) with supplies of food and medicines, and India's Vande Bharat mission flew home nationals from neighbouring countries, along with the lakhs of Indians who would have been stranded during the lockdown. India was not only the country in the region providing help. China too stepped up efforts to extend its influence in South Asian region through COVID-19 relief. Chinese Vice Minister in charge of region, Lu Zhonghui, held meetings with different groups of SAARC countries, including one with Pakistan, Afghanistan and Nepal, and another with Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka to coordinate relief efforts, and promised to provide the Chinese-made Sinovac vaccine to them when it is available. China also shipped relief to South Asia, sending out PPE suits and other medical equipments. Given that all SAARC countries except India and Bhutan are part of Belt and Road Initiative and owe different amounts of debts to Chinese banks, Beijing stepped in to provide partial debt waivers to the Maldives and Sri Lanka. It also extended a massive 1.4 billion line of credit to Pakistan. The government's response to the challenges has been to assert its neighbourhood first and SAARC, security and growth of all in region strategies as a foreign policy priorities. That is, SAARC, security and growth of all in the region strategies as a foreign policy priorities. Did military standoff impact the regional ties? China doubled down on territorial claims and its transgressions along its borders with South Asia. From Ladakh to Arunachal Pradesh, PLA soldiers amazed along various sectors of LAC, leading to violent clashes and deaths of nearly 20 Indian soldiers at Galwan Valley, as first such a casualty in 45 years. China also laid claim to Bhutan's scathing natural reserves and pushed along the boundary lines with Nepal, all of which changed India's strategic calculations along its Himalayan frontiers. That India and Nepal saw their worst tensions in the decades over the construction of a road to Lipulekh, leading to Nepal amending its constitution and map to claim Indian territory, added to already fraught situation. Meanwhile, a new defense pact this year has been between the China and Pakistan. In other words, a sharp rise in the ceasefire violations along the line of control with Pakistan to the highest levels since 2003 had made it clear that India must factor in among its military challenges at the LAC the possibility of a two-front war. How has India dealt with a three-pronged challenge? The government's response to the challenges has been to assert its neighbourhood first and SAARC, security and growth for all in the region, and strategies as foreign policy priorities. Apart from the COVID-19 relief and neighbourhood visits, Modi and External Affairs Minister Jaishankar have been in frequent touch with their counterparts in the region. Mr. Modi and Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina held a virtual summit on December 17th. India has also upped its game on infrastructure delivery, particularly for regional connectivity in the last year, including completing railway lines to Bangladesh and Nepal, riverine projects, ferry service to the Maldives, identifying other services to Sri Lanka and IOR islands, while also considering debt waiver requests from its neighbours. Unlike in the past, India has also become more flexible about the entry of other powers to help counter China's influence in the region. It recently welcomed the US new military dialogue with the Maldives. America's Millennium Challenge Cooperation (MCC) projects in Afghanistan, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Nepal and Bangladesh are also finding more space. Furthermore, as a part of its Indo-Pacific policy, New Delhi is also encouraging its Quad partners US, Japan and Australia to collaborate on security and infrastructure initiatives in the neighborhood, along with the promoting forays by other partners like UK, France and Germany in the regions. It is also significant that despite the considerable security challenges from China, India has not sought to elicit support from its neighbors, which might have put them in a difficult position. Thus, the Modi government has made it clear that despite the provocations, it intends to resolve the nearly 10-month long military standoff diplomatically and bilaterally.